Hello everyone, it's been 3 years. I can't believe it's been 3 years with this car. It feels like I just did the 1 year update 2 years ago. But I want to give this 3 year update kind of an overall what I think, but I really want to, I guess, break it down also into the first part being like reliability. So for people who are looking at buying a used one or looking at buying a new one and just kind of curious about the reliability of these cars, start with that and then really go into the parts and everything I've done with this car and anything I've screwed up with this car. And then third, really just my overall impressions after 3 full years, if I still like it and whatnot. And so to start off, I want to say it's 3 years old. It's actually like probably 3 years and 4 days old. I think I got it at the very end of June of 2014. I ordered it in May of 2014. And it's got, I think, almost exactly 42,000 miles on it. It's got the oil change yesterday. So 42,000 miles in 3 years, and it's been a crazy 3 years. So here's everything that's happened with the car. So the first thing I definitely talk about, because it was the biggest problem I've had so far, was with the AC. It started around like 5, 6, 7,000 miles where my car would just randomly stop blowing AC when it was hot out, and it would just start blowing basically the outside temperature, which is like 80 or 90 degrees and very hot air. So the AC is not working again. I'm just trying to show it the best way I can without being in here. Been driving for, it'll focus for 18, 19 minutes with the AC on the whole time. It hasn't been working the whole time. And then if you see, it's on full auto mode. The AC's on, the auto's on. The full auto is set to 78, and it's blasting the air because it's just blowing heat out, and it can't cool the interior down after 20 minutes because it's just blowing heat. And you can see it says full auto AC on, and then my operating temperature is almost 200 degrees. So I've been driving for about 20 minutes, and it just can't cool down. So it just blasts more heat, trying to cool it down, but it just won't work. And it got worse and worse over time, and it seems to be tied to almost like the load of the engine. So if I was on a highway or going up a hill, it seemed like the AC would cut out a little more. So even if I'm just normally cruise control on a highway, once I start slightly going up an incline, it seemed to go out more. Why this was such a big problem is because Subaru, the dealer I went to, basically didn't want to fix it. They didn't really see a problem with it. It was hard to replicate, to be fair, but I was able to like almost replicate it a little bit sometimes, and they still wouldn't really think it was a problem until one time when I finally replicated it for like a whole 10-minute drive. They finally said, okay, they'll do something about it. Because it was under warranty, under my 36,000 mile warranty. So after about 5 or 6 times, I would say, of going to Subaru, and they finally decided they would do something about it. They tried to replace a few parts, but it ended up not working. And after like my 7th time there, I think in total, they saw how frustrated I really was with it, that they said finally they would just replace the whole AC, no questions asked. So they replaced the AC, and everything's been working fine since. So I'm really happy that that got out of the way, and it's been fine ever since. That was probably around 30,000 miles they replaced that, so just under my bumper-to-bumper warranty, which was at about 36,000 miles where that ended. The next big thing was the stuttering engine problem, which I believe is fixed from an actual recall where Subaru reflashed the ECU. So what happened was, where it typically happened with my car, and I saw this online a lot, where the AC thing I didn't really see online, so I think it might have been more just my car thing, but the stuttering engine issue was I would typically be driving on the highway, and I'd get off the highway and I'd be at a stoplight, and I don't know why it always happened after highways, but then the car would just kind of idle very roughly and almost stutter, and then a lot of the times the whole dashboard would light up, check engine, every light would come on, everything would turn off, like traction control, stability control, all would turn off. And usually the lights would slowly come back on, some over the course of like 10-20 minutes of driving, some over the course of days. Would slowly go back off, and I ended up trying to take it to Subaru once or twice, but both times all the lights went off. By the time I got there, they couldn't really do anything, they said, about it. So that was the main thing, but there was a flash, probably around 15 to 20,000 miles for me, was the recall. Came in, they reflashed, and after that flash, it seemed like everything went away and I haven't had that problem since, so that's good. So if you do get a new one or a used one, if they got the recall flash, I think you should be okay. Another problem, which is kind of funny, because I feel like it's just Subaru has like these problems with wiring and electrical. I don't know if they really do, but it just seems like they do. This problem was the battery, after about, I think 2.5 years, 2.5 years, it wasn't working anymore, so I had to get a new battery, whatever, it's no problem. Got a new battery, and every light came on after I replaced that battery, every light on my dash. And they all came on the first time. I had to jump my car once. After I jumped it, they all came on. Replaced the battery, all came on, stayed on for a little bit, went to Subaru, they went off by the time I went to Subaru, but then the check engine would come back, like on and off periodically for about 2 months, just like a day, and then go off for a week, and then come on for 2 days, then go off for 2 weeks. Just randomly would come on, and that was probably about 6 months ago, and it hasn't happened since, so it's been about 4 months without that. And like the one time I tried to take it to Subaru, it just wasn't on, so I just haven't really dealt with it since, but it's been off for the past 4 months, so I think we should be okay now. And then the last thing that I've really noticed reliability-wise is my clutch, which this just started happening probably in the past month. I've noticed when the car's cold, the clutch is kind of starting to slip a little bit in first and second gear, especially on a hill. But once the car's warmed up, probably at least 5 minutes or so, I don't notice it really anymore, but it's very noticeable for the first couple of minutes of startup, and I'm currently at 42,000 miles, I think exactly, about 42,000 miles on this car after 3 years, and it just started to happen, and I think clutches should last longer. So I'm gonna see how this goes over the next 6 months or so. If it's just when I start it really, in just the first minute, it's not a huge deal, but if it keeps persisting and if it continues into something like after 5 minutes of driving and when the car's warm, it's something I need to look at. So that's something, I don't know if Subaru clutches, I don't know enough about them. If they go early, if they tend to, I feel like what I've heard from clutches is around 70,000 miles or so. But I don't know if Subaru goes early or not. But that's really my last reliability thing I've noticed on this car. Everything else has pretty much been very good, which I think is what we should expect from 42,000 miles on a brand new car. Any brand new car you buy, you shouldn't really have any problems. But at least my AC was fixed under warranty, under the 36,000 mile bumper to bumper warranty, so no charge. You had the recall flash, and now the clutch, we'll see what happens with that. But luckily, there's been really no charges out of my pocket reliability for this car. Next, I want to talk about what I've done with the car and maybe what's gone wrong with stuff I've done, and just give you an overview of what I've done and if I've liked it. To start, I think I'll just go chronologically. What I remember what I've done from start to finish. So the very first thing I did was change out the headlight bulbs, which are halogen because I have the premium model. They're LEDs on the Limited. I changed those out originally with some LED bulbs from Subispeed. Both of those went bad. After about a month or two, they start flashing and then would just go out. And no idea why that was happening. I think they're just I don't know if it's a bad part or really bad quality for those bulbs. Talked to Subispeed, and ended up replacing them, and I ended up getting HIDs just because I didn't see any problems with the HIDs from what I read online, but I saw a lot of problems with the LEDs. So I went with the HIDs. Those have been fine. There might be future light upgrades that I'm thinking about right now, and I'll talk about that in another video, but right now the HIDs have been good for basically almost 3 years. I got them basically right when I got this car. Next thing I did of significance would be exhaust, which was just an axle back. I'm looking into more right now, but I got the axle back. This was probably 1 year. I think it was exactly 1 year after I got the car. It's a 4-inch resonator, nameless axle back exhaust. So obviously no performance out of this, sound only, and that's what I wanted. And I love the sound of it. I've gotten compliments on the sound of it. Go ahead and check out one of my other videos, my old videos. I've got a really good comparison of stock versus this, and I really love the sound of this. Been happy with it, no problems. So then about 2 years after I got my car, I got new wheels, but I did get new tires a little earlier as well. So wheels and tires, we'll say, is my next thing I did. I got tires pretty much right away for winter. So I have the 2015 Premium car. 2015 Premium came with 17-inch wheels that from the factory that I got winter tires for, and I kept my summer 17-inch tires as well. So for about 2 years, I would swap the tires on the same exact 17-inch wheel. After about 2 years, I wanted to switch it up, get something new. I wanted a bigger wheel, I wanted a wider wheel, and I wanted to have 2 sets of wheels so I can just swap myself the wheels on and off the car for winter and for summer instead of going somewhere for them to take the tire off the wheel. So I ended up going with these. They're Avid something, I can't remember. You can check out some of my wheel videos I have. But they're 18-inch wheels. They're by 8.5. So the rubber on these are 245s, which I think the stock rubber is 235, so a little bit wider of a wheel. I like the wheel a lot. The only problem is the matte bronze, which they are. If you curb your wheels, definitely will take off the matte bronze. I think I curbed them once or twice, very light curbing once or twice, and took off just a tad bit of the bronze. So that was the only real problem I had with them, but I like them a lot. I'm thinking about possibly changing up next year, maybe dipping them and making them a different color, but I'm glad I did it. I like the size. I think 18s look really good on this car. Now, a problem I had, which doesn't really relate to the wheel itself, it just happened to be that I was swapping my wheels over, is I went to put this past year, I went to put my winter wheels on my car, and I actually had someone do it for me. I had a shop do it for me. So they just took these wheels off and put the winters on, bolted them on, all good. I went to put on my summers, swapping myself this summer, and I took off 19 bolts or 19 lugs of the 20. All came off fine, swapped my wheels. On the very last lug, which really sucks, it was just cross-threaded or something. I knew it wouldn't even budge, it wouldn't come off. It would budge about halfway and then stop, and it was just completely, I knew it was cross-threaded, something was wrong. So I just said, whatever, it's probably gonna break off. So I went as hard as I could and it broke off. So that little stud that sticks out that broke off, and I ended up calling the shop that did it, because I'm not sure if it's their fault, if they cross-threaded something. I'm not sure if just something happened, whatever, but I called them and they gave me actually like a really cheap price to replace that stud, because maybe they did think that it was their fault when I talked to them about it. So I got that replaced, not a huge deal, just something that happened, a little bit of cash out of pocket for it, but besides that, that was it. Like my wheels, like them a lot. Next couple things I did. I think the next thing I did was tint, which is 22%. I love the tint. I wasn't sure if that'd be too dark. I didn't want it super dark, but I think 22 is perfect. Really not much to talk about with tint. It's just tint is tint, and it's the solar tint, so it blocks out a lot of heat and whatnot. But then right after that was probably the biggest thing I've done so far to this car was intake and tune. So I went with a Cobb intake and Cobb access port. Had some buddies over, we put it together. It only took like an hour and a half to do the whole intake, take everything off, put everything back on. Not bad at all. And then flashed a tune. And I am so happy with the stage 1 tune. That's what I have right now, and it's a Cobb off the shelf tune. And I'm so happy because if you check out my kind of video on the tune, there was always this dip from it seemed like 4,000 to redline was almost a dip in power, where that dip is gone and there's more power. So the stage 1 tune's awesome. I'm looking to do stage 2 hopefully this year. I'm gonna do a full exhaust and then do a stage 2. Don't know if I'll do a pro tune with the full exhaust or if I'm just gonna do an off-the-shelf tune. That's something I'll still decide upon, but I'm really happy with that right now. So that's a huge thing that I would really recommend if someone's interested in a little bit of performance and getting it when they get a WRX. Is definitely that stage 1 tune is awesome. Even if you don't get an intake, I'm sure the stage 1 tune is still great. So that's basically everything I've done with the car. Not a ton of stuff, but not a little bit either. I think I've done a little minor things, but nothing worth mentioning, just the stuff I mentioned. So now I really want to talk about my overall impression and usability of this car after 3 years. I still love this car, it's the first thing I want to say. I still love driving it. It's fun every time I get in it. But really, I think daily driving it, I might be getting a tad sick of it just because it is a little bit harsher and I don't have an exciting drive to work. I don't have many exciting drives around me that I do, but when I do, it's great. So, but it's the good thing about it, I really would say, is that you can daily drive it. You can use it every day, even though it is a little more rough. And I do believe, I could be wrong, but I think in 2016, Subaru, the 2016 model year of this car, I have the 15, they softened up the WRX a little bit in the suspension. So I think that's a little better ride quality, maybe a little worse handling, but this car handles so well already, I doubt it's much worse handling, but could be a little bit better ride quality. But yeah, now specific gripes, definitely the seats. I mentioned this in the 1 year. I am mentioning it again for sure in this one because these seats are really, really bad in this car. I feel like you have to sit straight up to really get like any good seat comfort, and sometimes you just want to slouch a little bit, and there's no lumbar, there's no really good seat comfort. The bolstering's pretty good, could be better, but it's not bad for when you're actually driving it like a sports car. But one of the big things that I really want to find out about is the new Recaros in the new car. I'm wondering if they're good, if they're comfortable. Obviously they'll hold you in great, but these are not really comfortable for long drives, and that was always my biggest gripe with this car. So I'm curious if the newer cars are nice or not. That's something I definitely want to check out. But that's probably one of my bigger gripes about daily driving this car is these seats. But guys, that's really about it. There's nothing else I really have to say about it. It's a great car, and I still love having it. You know, I get a little annoyed with some of the daily driving because my commute's boring, and you know, it's a rougher ride. And I've sat in a lot of luxury cars, I feel like recently, just like friends, families' cars, that you almost crave that luxury a little bit. But this thing is just so much fun that I still love it. If you want any more opinions about it, check out a bunch of my videos, because anything that really came up with the car, I've probably videoed it and put it out there. Also check my 1 year update. I probably have some critiques from there as well that I may have missed here. But overall, still, if you just want a fun car that you can have as your only car, this is great. There's so much usability. When the seats fold flat, you can fit a ton of stuff in this. I've moved like 3 times with this car, and I fit so much stuff in it. It's just a great overall car. Thanks for watching, guys. That's all I really have. Again, check out my videos on anything else. A lot of clips I'm sure you've seen in this video were probably from other videos. So if you want to see more, go look at that. Exhaust videos, wheels videos, etc., etc. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.